Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Paris, and I'm back with some Cyberpunk 2077 news. I've kind of held off the past week or so because there's been a lot of information in the Cyberpunk 2077 world that's been coming through, and I kind of want to use this video to just do a full roundup of everything that's been going on. So let's go back to last week, last Friday, where we had CD Projekt Red. They did the gameplay stream slash gameplay reveal for Cyberpunk 2077. It was an edited version of the 45-minute demo that I got to see at E3 and at Gamescom, and it was really good. I like the way that they did it because they kind of took some of the best bits out of the demo to kind of show everyone what the gameplay is going to look like for Cyberpunk 2077. Then after that, they did something I really loved, and that was they had a panel, so to speak, kind of a relaxed environment, sit-down interview with three of the developers from CD Projekt Red, and they had Holly from CD Projekt Red as the host to kind of demonstrate what was going on in the demo, and then the developers elaborated further on what you can expect, some of just the minor details that you could get out of the game after watching that demo, and what you can expect when you're actually going to be able to get hands-on from it. I really loved it. I love the format because what I think when you have things like this where you want to show off a gameplay reveal is you want the host to basically be us, and I think Holly did a great job of just being us in that scenario, and they did it in a relaxed environment, just sitting on the couch, and they let the developers tell their story. They got to tell what they enjoyed about actually making this game and the things that we could look forward to. So I thought it was a great format that they did. Got a lot of information out there about Cyberpunk 2077. What we can expect when we go into Night City and actually play the game. So it was really good to see that. So I thought, hey, I'm going to wind up doing a video on this. I'll go into the deep dive of that. A lot of other great creators have already done that, so I'm not going to waste my time and just recap what they've done. But again, I truly enjoyed it. Now, the next part that came out was the fact that CD Projekt Red has come out, and this has actually been confirmed through various people at the studio, that hey, third person direct conversation dialogue is gone in the game. That is not going to happen. Everything, they want the most immersive experience possible, so everything is going to be in first person when it comes to that. Now, when I got to see the demo both times, both last year and then again this year, you saw scenarios where you got to see your basically third person view of your character, right? But never directly in dialogue did you have the camera pulled out, you saw your character, and you just saw one-on-one dialogue where you got to actually make choices. That was never in the demo that we've seen of Cyberpunk so far. So in that sense, what they basically did by telling us this is they're just confirming that, hey, we're going for this immersive experience, but they haven't actually changed anything from what us, the public, have been able to see. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with it because we're still going to have third person cutscenes in the game, and I think that's fine. I think that's good enough. It's going to allow all the hard work and effort that we're going to put into our creative character to get some shine when we're playing the single player game. Which, again, speaking on creative character, the other thing that came out with this game, there's a lot of information over the past week, is there's been an uproar over the fact that you will no longer be able to choose your gender. There will no longer be a male female selection when you go in to create your character, and what they're really doing is they're allowing you to do whatever the hell you want. I thought, I had tweeted about it as soon as I saw it. I was like, this is great, because typically when I play RPGs, like famously Mass Effect as an example, I always played as female Shep. I like playing as a female protagonist in these RPG games and going through the game that way. So what's going to happen? Sure, I'm not going to select female when I go into Cyberpunk 2077, but I'm going to select a female body type, and I'm probably going to select the female voice. Pretty sure it's Jennifer Hale that's doing the voice. I'm going to select the female V voice, and from there, who I decide to romance, be it male, female, or whatever the case may be, is up to me. I can do whatever the hell I want. And that's great. And I know there's a lot of uproar over that on social media. People, you're taking away my manhood. I can't select a male, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, come on, really? Who cares? That's what it really comes down to. They're not taking anything away from you. They're allowing more choice is what they're doing. And I applaud CD Projekt Red for being able to do that. So we get to go in, create our characters, whatever gender we want, whatever preference we have, we get to go in this world and do what we want. And that's how it should be, especially in the cyberpunk world, in this near future where the lines of gender have been blurred anyways. There was obviously the controversy over the poster and all that stuff. But again, it's a video game. We're there to immerse ourselves into this fantasy world and to be whatever we want. And that's the beauty of it. And I like that we're getting more freedom to be able to do that in this game. So that is fantastic. So controversy aside, kind of quickly going back to the whole first person, third person view stuff and the dialogue choices, it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I get what they're trying to do with the immersion. Like I said, as long as we still see some third person view options in cutscenes, like I said, you're going to be able to see yourself in a mirror, things like that. I even saw that in the second demo where you clearly see your character like in a mirror, things like that. As long as our creations are on display enough in the game that they're able to be celebrated, you know, I'm fine with it. Which actually brings me to my final point here. So this just dropped a couple days ago that on CD Projekt Red announced that they are indeed working on multiplayer for Cyberpunk 2077, and they've actually started the hiring process to bring in more people to help with that effort. But they also stated this will not affect the single player experience that we're going to get in April of 2020. That is the priority for the studio, to get the single player version of this game out on time, April 2020. They're going to put out some free DLC with that as well, and then we'll get some story expansions to go along with it. And after all that, that's when we're going to get multiplayer. So basically, multiplayer is going to come when it is ready, when we have had all these adventures in Night City on our own. That's when multiplayer comes into play. That's where, hey, all these creative characters that we've been doing, that's when that's going to be highlighted and truly celebrated amongst the community, amongst our friends, amongst our peers, when we're playing together in this multiplayer Night City. That really excites me, you know. So yeah, maybe I understand the disappointment with the first person immersion, things like that. Yeah, I'm not seeing my character enough that I spent all this time creating. But hey, maybe in 2021, I'm assuming probably by April 2021, around that time is when we'll see the multiplayer. You know, now all that effort comes into play, because now we're gonna have online and we'll be able to all play together, all have these adventures in Night City together. It just really excites me for what CD Projekt Red, the ambition that they're doing with Cyberpunk 2077, because obviously this game is being built for the long haul. Sure, like The Witcher 3, we're going to be able to have multiple playthroughs on our own and do all these different scenarios and choices and other things. But then they're going to put this multiplayer component in as well. I'm dying to see what that potentially could be, the route that they're going to take, and how we're all going to interact together. So it's exciting times in gaming. I mean, you guys know that this game is at the absolute top of my list for most anticipated going into 2020. So I can't wait to get my hands on it when it does come out. I know I'm going to do multiple playthroughs, do various scenarios in Night City in the single player experience. And then, you know, when I probably had my fill of that, hey, all of a sudden now multiplayer comes into play and we're going to have all brand new adventures again. So a lot of news from CD Projekt Red here over the past week, and we're still 6-7 months away from launch. But I mean, we'll be curious to see what other information that we're going to get about this game. Like I said, I'm very excited for it. I just think what the studio is doing is very ambitious. I think it potentially could be revolutionary for the open world RPG genre, and let's just see what happens. So wanted to get something out. I know I haven't actually put a Cyberpunk video out for a while, but like I said at the top, I really enjoyed the gameplay stream that they did. And then I think they talked for like 45 minutes, the developer commentary afterwards, where you could really see the passion that they had, you know, like Miles and Powell, you know, just talking about the game and just some of the ideas and just the things that they're trying to accomplish by making this game. I think it's fantastic. And oh, one last thing, because I got this, and this was directly from Miles Toast. He is the senior level designer, I believe that is his title. Had a little conversation with him via social media, and I asked a question. So one thing real quick before I go, as I watched the demo a second time at Gamescom, I noticed when we're fighting the animal's leader, you have a scenario where you can shoot basically her crit spot in the back, and you can depower her. So she no longer has her super strength, and she's no longer able to hold the hammer that she has, right? You defeat her, she basically drops the hammer as a loot item. You're able to pick up that loot item and equip it into your inventory because you're playing as the female V in this scenario, who was the tank melee version, versus the male V, which was the Netrunner version in the demo that they had at Gamescom. So the female V that I was, that CD Projekt Red was playing as, was strong enough to pick up that hammer and take it, right? So as I'm watching it, made me think. I go, now if I was the Netrunner, could I still pick up that hammer? So I asked Miles directly on Twitter about it, and he responded. And at first he said, yes, you'll be able to put it into your inventory, and then basically if you spec out your perks to be strong enough to actually wield the hammer, then you'll be able to use it. So then a couple days later, he actually corrected himself, and he reached out to me and he let me know, hey, he did some research on it and he realized that that was incorrect. That in fact, if you are not specced out strength-wise to be able to pick up that hammer at the time it drops, you can't get it. It's gone. That is fantastic. I'm telling you, I love that this is a feature. I love that attention to detail. So what that's basically saying is, your choices when you spec out your character matter. They absolutely do. And there's going to be branching changes that happen because of that, because you're going to run into scenarios and items, because say if I am a Netrunner in that scenario, I don't get that hammer. I don't get to use it. I have to leave it behind. So what does that mean? The next playthrough, when I go through, I'm probably, if I go to that scenario, I'm going to want a V that is spec'd out, that is strong enough to pick up that hammer. And what branch does that take me off into the game? Those are the little things that I find fantastic. And remember, there is a classless system. So it's not like, okay, my V wasn't strong enough to pick it up at that time. I can change around my perks to become strong enough later in the game for another scenario that requires strength. Or if I'm running as a melee tank and I want to be more of a hacker tech guy, I can spec over to that on the fly. So those scenarios will exist in the game. And when I say on the fly, I'm sure there's going to be some kind of penalty once you change your perks around. So it isn't even in that scenario where the hammer drops, I'm not strong enough. Oh, let me move some stuff around so I'm strong enough. I guarantee you won't be able to do that real time. But the fact that there is a classless system, so that if you don't like a certain style that you've picked, you will have the option in your current game session to be able to change that around to make it something more to the preference and the playstyle that you want. Again, this is Cyberpunk 2077. This is almost the culmination of lessons learned in the open world RPG space. Obviously, you know, The Witcher 3 has been the gold standard from this. This is the same studio that has made The Witcher 3. I'm super excited to see where we're going to go when we get to April with this game, but we still got some time to go. I know there's going to be more information coming out. So again, thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate it. I am far from the Cyberpunk expert. There are other fantastic YouTubers and content creators out there that are also talking about Cyberpunk. I will point you over to Triple S League, Last Known Meal, Mad Queen, Neon Arcade. Love all those guys and gals. They do fantastic work. Definitely check them out as well. I'm just an old man who likes to play video games, and I happen to like Cyberpunk. So let me stop rambling here. Thank you guys for watching this. I really appreciate it. So until the next time, see you soon.